Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Claw and the King podcast. I am joined by my co-host, Oscar. How are you doing, my friend?
Yep, I'm pretty good. On this fine Friday. Is it Friday?
No. Oh, is it? Yeah, it is a Friday.
It is a Friday.
Yes, obviously we've switched seats. I thought we might change it up.
Why have we switched
sporadic.
seats?
Just sporadic.
Just sporadic, is that the reason?
Yeah, anyway, moving on to the more important topics. You're usually the sort of guider into our opening.
Well, I guess we'll just get it out of the way at the start because it'll be repetitive, but we'll just get the
It's
United.
not repetitive, I'd say.
I would say it's repetitive.
Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not passionate enough about it, so you don't understand the pain that I go through on a daily basis thinking about it. But anyway, that's probably, I'm assuming it's the Manchester United talk.
Yeah.
Terrible result on the weekend, losing 4-0 to Brentford. I stayed up to watch it. What time was it? 2:30 in the morning. I stayed up,
just get your Z's, man. There's no point staying up.
like any Manchester United fan would. And I saw 4 goals going on net against Brentford in the opening 35 minutes. And I was just sat there going, what has happened? What on earth has happened to this football club?
Did you watch Goldbridge live?
Oh my God. Yeah, he got so many.
He got like 140,000.
He got 140,000. I'm like, what the? It must be his most viewed stream. But yeah, it's so depressing to watch. I mean, to see Ronaldo out there just being able to do absolutely nothing in a graveyard shift, essentially, while the Glazers just refuse to back Manchester United. And news came out probably a day ago now, that we were in for Casemiro. Obviously, top quality player, but clearly a panic buy by the Glazers. And no coincidence that it happens directly after there have been reports that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, a British billionaire who's worth about 20 billion, offered to buy the club. So as soon as Manchester United fans are starting to organise protests, and as soon as Manchester United fans are supporting a new owner, and they're mad at the Glazers and the stock prices falling, as soon as that happens, guess what happens? The Glazers just make sure Manchester United are rumoured with every player on the planet. And so far, I think Casemiro is the only one that's stuck so far. There's a couple other rumours like back in for Anthony, which is just embarrassing, for about 80 million. It's just like, oh my God.
79 overall isn't worth 80 million.
Yeah, okay, this guy he views players solely on their FIFA rating. So apparently Harry Maguire
It's the only way to do it.
Harry Maguire is 5 overall points better than Anthony. Harry
Maguire's going to get a downgrade this year, but
yeah, and Scott McTominay's better than him as well. He's an 81 on FIFA, so let's say FIFA's just not that accurate, is it? But anyway, it's just so depressing to see. And we've got Liverpool this week. I mean, imagine what they're going to do to us. If we're losing 4-0 to Brentford...
They haven't won a game yet. So.
I know, but if we're losing 4-0 to Brentford, surely it's 7. Surely. However, there are planned protests, which I fully support. I don't want it to be violent, but a message thrown. I wouldn't mind a bit of damage.
Maybe a couple of people could get hurt.
Yeah, I wouldn't... not deathly hurt, but maybe
severely hurt.
what severe are we talking about? Broken ankle or...
Oh, I don't know. In hospital, at least.
Oh, hospital. Jeez. Well,
the Glazers, are they even in England? No.
They're never in England, mate. They're in Yanktown. But the board would probably be there. They might be there. I don't know. But there is a plan.
Eric Ten Hag, he's a disease.
Yeah, no, he must be... Well, it was naivety from him. I mean, he played a midfield of Eriksen, Fred,
mate,
and Bruno.
Maguire and Martinez and sitting Varane on the bench.
Yeah, but apparently the rumours are that Maguire's going to be benched, which is hallelujah. But anyway, I just wanted to comment on how the Glazers are clearly doing everything they can to keep control of this football club. And we're linked to a private... They're trying to sell a minority stake instead of selling the club and being good people and understanding that they're failing miserably at the job of being owners of Manchester United. They're deciding to sell a minority stake to Apollo, whose owner or CEO is literally in Jeffrey Epstein's book. The book where he keeps all the names of the famous people that allegedly flew. I don't want to get hanged. I don't want to, I don't want you to find me dead somewhere because I've been killed by Jeffrey Epstein, and the ghost of Jeffrey Epstein, I should say. But anyway, the point is the fact that we're linked with a rumored paedophile to be our new owner of the football club is quite embarrassing.
It's in line with where United are at. Sounds about right.
It's about expected.
Yeah.
We're that bad morally at this point. And I just wanted to say, I thought of an interesting analogy. I want you to sort of comment on it. Now, the JFK assassination. What's your belief on that? Who do you believe killed JFK?
I think he just got sniped.
You think he just got sniped?
Who's the main suspect?
Lee Harvey Oswald.
I don't know the name of the dude, but
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Okay,
I just said it to you.
Sure. Yeah, but I don't know if we're talking about the same person.
JFK.
Yeah, I know
the president.
JFK. Yes.
Okay. Well. Okay. Anyway, so the general consensus, I think, from people nowadays is that the CIA killed him. Essentially, I don't know. No, that's
well, yeah, I don't think. I think
conspiracy.
it was just a guy by himself.
Well, you're a sheep and you know nothing.
A sheep. A sheep would be
anyway.
the CIA if there's a general consensus.
No, well, the general consensus now is there is some form of conspiracy involved in the murder of JFK. And I think it just
Honestly,
reminded
who
me of
cares?
that. Anyway, it was just, I made it, this is a quick analogy. I compared that situation to the Glazers right now. And the fact that nobody within the club is willing to uproot the Glazers and nobody within government during the time of JFK was willing to expose the truth because they're a part of it. And the fact that...
Yeah, but how can you fire your boss?
Exactly.
It doesn't really work like that.
There's no leadership. There's no one correcting these people on what to do. John Murtaugh is just accepting, and not David Gilbert, John Murtaugh and all the people on the board, and it's just everyone is accepting mediocrity because they don't want to get caught out for being wrong, and they don't want to sell. They don't want to do the right thing, even take a massive amount of money, because if they do, then all their mates will get fired. You think the director of football is going to stay? You think anybody in the management or scouting or recruitment, any of those guys are going to stay if new ownership comes in? Guaranteed, they all get the door. Absolutely everyone gets the door. And we got Phil Jones was going to be a CDM this week. I mean, so it was just ridiculous, the news cycle that the Glazers spun this week and just tried to get the Man United fans off the fact that we're a shambles, and then they are ruining the football club. So yeah, we could go over the general fixtures if you want, or obviously Liverpool, Darwin Núñez, he ruined my fantasy Premier League.
Why do you have him?
Well, he was cheap, and I thought, you know what, he's in a Liverpool team that's going to get a lot of goals.
He looks terrible.
He looks like Lukaku. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got -2 on my FPL team because he got a red card. So F that guy, I sold him straight away. I didn't even wait for the week to be finished. I was like, Haaland, get in my team, baby.
What, so you could have afforded Haaland?
No, I couldn't, but I had 2 free transfers, so I transferred out Son, who's been also crap, and I brought in Maddison, I think.
Yeah, but Son will come good.
Maybe. I think it's going to be a lot more shared this season at Tottenham. I wouldn't get into Tottenham players because there's a lot more firepower at Tottenham, so the goals, I think, are going to be a lot more centralised. But anyway, that's by the by. Liverpool, we've got coming up, but they look dodgy. Man City look dominant. They didn't face a great team, but they look dominant. Arsenal, Gabby Jesus, he's turning into Jesus. I mean, the guy was on fire.
Yeah. Did he score like that chip goal?
It was like a finesse kind of chip. Yeah,
it was like an accidental goal.
Maybe. I don't know. But he looks really good. He's in my FPL team as well. Got 19 points. Solid. But yeah, Arsenal look really solid. Tottenham, it was a very controversial game. Cucurella's hair. He's got kind of, if you had long hair, he's kind of that kind of hair. So Romero tugged his hair, the Chelsea left back's hair, in the penalty box, and Tottenham scored from that corner. So it was a bit dodgy of a finish, and Anthony Taylor is quite notoriously against Chelsea.
Was that the coaches going at each other?
Yeah. And then Tuchel and Conte were giving each other a good old firm handshake at the end, which was great to see. They got I don't know what sort of disciplinary
they look so
thing.
unco.
Well, Tuchel does. Tuchel looks like you.
That was the most unco attempted fight I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, but it looked like you. Tuchel.
I wouldn't look like that.
You look like Tuchel.
No.
I do. You do.
He's skinnier than me.
Maybe. You couldn't really lift 10 kilo dumbbells there, but
15.
Okay, there's by the by. So yeah, what other major games? Nothing else really that comes to me. It was just it was really hard to watch any other games once you saw Manchester United flop and flail. But yeah, anyway, in terms of next week, I fully support a protest against the Glazers. I think every Man United fan should unite against them. And I think we can make our voices heard. And I wouldn't mind if the game was cancelled. Now, in saying that, the game's at 5 o'clock in the morning here, so it's not like I'll probably be watching it later anyway. I think that's fair to say. But I would fully support a cancellation of that game, and we can shut the Glazers out. And I just wonder what Casemiro would be thinking. If he's not going to be ready, I don't think.
Well, he's thinking, you know what? I've won 4 Champions Leagues. I'm just going to happily waste the end of my career and enjoy
he's getting paid 350 grand a week, apparently.
Yeah, I'm happily going to waste my career.
That's necessarily what I mean. I mean, like, if he's in attendance, he won't be playing, but if he's in attendance and he's just watching a full-on protest go on, and he's like, what have I should be reading the news, maybe.
Fred, my Brazilian teammate.
Well, that's a funny thing is, Fred and Casemiro actually play together in the Brazilian national team. And they apparently have a really
How
good
does Fred
connection.
make the Brazilian team?
The guy's a weird fella, isn't he? Half the time he looks like he's from Stoke. The other half of the time he's the reincarnation of Pele. It's fabulous to see sometimes and treacherous to see the other time. So, yeah, I don't know what we're going to get out of Fred. Obviously, Casemiro is a world-class CDM. I'm happy that he's coming. But the most important thing is that the Glazers are doing this and spending... Look how quick it's taken to get Casemiro. We were linked with him 2 days ago and he'll probably sign tomorrow. De Jong is going on for 15 weeks. I mean, we were negotiating Anthony for 7 weeks. I mean, what kind of idiots do they think we are? They're just pissing about. What do you think? If you're the director of football at Manchester United, what do you think they're doing on a daily basis? Do you think they're just walking into the offices? Well, busy day today. What should I do?
Well, have you watched the Arsenal doc?
Yeah, I have.
I haven't seen the last 2 episodes, but it seems like the whole club is run by 3 people.
Well,
that Brazilian dude is mate that sits in the corner of
Man
his
United,
office.
there's so much politics going on. There's so many people getting stupid money for doing nothing. You've got to get permission from this guy, that guy, this guy. Some American banker geezer. You got to get his permission to sign a player. You got to get the opinion of an investment banker from Nepal or whatever. I don't know. You got to get so much. There's so many people that are trying to do one simple thing, and I think Arsenal have figured it out. You simplify it. You get simple roles. You get a director of football. You get a CEO. You get a coach. That's all on the same page. That all wants the same players. And I think that they've shown how unified that squad is because only 3 people are making decisions. And I think that's a smart sort of approach. But my question to you is, what do you think the director of football does at Manchester United? Do you think he's...
I don't know, makes a lot of phone calls.
To who, though? He's not doing anything.
He must be talking to someone in Barcelona.
Is he? He might be... I think he's been to Barcelona a couple of times. Maybe he's just going there for the culture. I don't know. Maybe he's going out on the town or just for a couple of restaurants.
I don't know, maybe.
Just polishing up his
He's
Spanish.
got to be talking to someone if you're going to be linked for 3 months.
Apparently not. I mean, it's been going on for 3 months. They figured out the transfer fee reasonably quickly. The contract is going on for that long. Anyway, but that's my Manchester United rant for the week. It should be called a weekly segment at this point. It's like Ollie's tantrum.
What are you going to do when they eventually score a Premier League point?
I don't know. Maybe throw a party.
If they record a draw, that is a fantastic result.
But I don't think it's too controversial to say that Manchester United could get relegated this season or next season.
Nah. Well, I said it last week.
We are the worst team in the Premier League right now, by far. Who could you name another Premier League team that would lose 4-0 to Brentford?
I don't know.
Could you name another Championship team that could lose 4-0 to Brentford?
I don't know.
No.
QPR.
I think QPR would do better than us. But yeah, it's an absolute shambles, and I think it's probably going to be... What's your score prediction for the weekend, by the way? I haven't asked.
5-0.
5-0?
Actually, 5-1.
5-1. Who's scoring?
Ronnie.
Sue.
And we're going to be 5-0 down. He's going to score in the 88th minute, and he's going to celebrate like he's just won the Champions League.
Lovely.
It's going to be the biggest sue you've ever seen.
The whole crowd's just going to go nuts. Oh, all the 20 people are in there because the whole stadium will empty. But yeah, that's moving on. We're keeping Scott McTominay, though. That's great. Selling James Garner, our only promising, good, talented player in the midfield. We're selling him for nothing, for 10 million. We're keeping McTominay. Make it make sense. Anyway, moving on.
We'll switch to the NRL. NRL news this week. NRL news is just, it's always not to do with the sport. It's always off-field stuff. But this week, our mate Kalen up in Newcastle, he's coming to the headlines.
Mate? Do we know him that well?
I think we would be mates if we met.
Your sibling goes to university around that area. So
what, in Newcastle?
Has your sibling seen Kalen Ponga on the town? Obviously,
no.
He's obviously going out every week because he's going out when his team plays.
She hasn't. But
yeah,
him and Kurt Mann were filmed in a bathroom while the team was playing and getting their asses handed to them.
He was being sick, you know. It was the nearest establishment that he could find.
Well,
he was throwing up profusely.
Yeah, so he bought a new house apparently, and it is time to celebrate. Okay,
let's celebrate.
It's red panty night, boys. We've bought a house.
But he's a captain of the club and he's not watching his team play.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it for me. Is
the cocaine's fine. Who cares about that?
If you're gonna be,
everyone does that. Who cares?
Yeah, if you're not gonna go up to, were they playing Brisbane?
I'm not too sure.
I think they were out of Sydney for sure. But if you're not going to go with the club,
at least watch it on TV.
At least put it. I'm sure you've got a nice TV in that new house. At least turn it on and give it a geeze. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Newcastle obviously their club is complete shambles. They are in the bin right now. And the dude that did the press conference basically said nothing.
Peter Parr.
Yeah, he was like, we're not going to punish him until we know for sure, which is just bullshit.
Mate.
Massive cop-out.
Well, it's one of... Is it one of two things or one of three things?
What they were doing?
Yeah.
Well, they could have been giving each other handies.
That's a possibility.
They could have been doing a sword fight.
It's not... It's sort of an abstract concept on a night out.
They could have been doing cocaine.
Yeah. Are those are three options? Maybe they were watching the game on their phones. They were that addicted to it. They just wanted to watch it in a quiet place. They could hear the commentary. That could be it.
Or he could have been throwing up.
Yeah.
Now, that's probably the least likely out of the four scenarios.
But the thing is, the results won't be swant to broad out.
No, the results of the drug test are not recorded. And now I saw a thing that the RLPA is saying they want to can drug tests altogether because they think it's unfair to test these people.
Who's running the NRLPA? Ben Barber?
Yeah. Well, obviously, Kalen's got on the mic to his mate down, whoever's running it, and said, lad, they're testing me. I wasn't doing anything. I was just having a few drinks. And they've gone, oh, Kalen, don't worry, mate.
Don't you worry.
You will not have to take another drug test for the rest of your life if I have anything to say about it.
Well, to be fair, what percentage of NRL players do you reckon are on the Gary Abletts? The Benny Barbers?
I don't know. I'd like to think not many people. I think I'm in the minority of people that think that, but
yeah, I
like to think the best in people, but
well, it's not like doing cocaine makes you a bad person.
But, no, it does if you're a professional athlete.
Well, the thing is, the cocaine thing isn't even the most bad part. We've touched on it a bit. That's not even the worst part. It's the fact that you're the club captain, right? You're the club captain.
And you've just been ruled out for the season because your head is jelly.
And it's not, you can't even be bothered to not even go with the team and watch the game and support them in person. You can't even be bothered to watch it on TV. Like, what are you doing?
And also, like, alcohol is terrible for concussions. Like, it's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah. He's probably not even concussed at this point, though. The Knights were like, well...
No, yeah, probably not. And also, it's clear that he does not care about the Knights at all. He plays unbelievably for Queensland and plays terribly for Newcastle.
It's like the opposite of Panthers players. Absolutely terrible for New South Wales.
And apparently he wants to go to the World Cup for Australia at the end of the year.
No, he should not be picked.
And I'm sure he'll play amazingly if he gets picked. But yeah, he probably shouldn't get picked. Dylan Edwards is easily better than him.
Yeah, said no one ever. But yeah, it's a very disappointing scenario for Kalen Ponga.
No one's talking about Kurt Mann, though. He's kind of getting away with it.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be in a job though, is he? Everyone's just being a bit sympathetic. He's like, well, he's getting sacked, isn't he? He wasn't.
No, he's not going to get sacked.
He wasn't good enough to be in the team anyway.
He is in the team.
Well, to play. I mean, he was barely playing at the.
No, he's like one of their best players.
Mm.
I mean, that's not saying much. They have no good players.
Well, I think they've got good players, but I just think I think it does highlight the problem with culture there. I think that
apparently they don't train well or anything. They all walk around like they're in the joint.
Well, again, you shouldn't have made Kalen Ponga. Kalen Ponga's not a captain.
Yeah, but you kind of have to because he's your best player and you're giving him $1 million a year.
Yeah, well, I guess, but I mean, you do have veterans in that team. Like, could Tyson Frizzell not be a captain? Could Gagai not be a captain?
Yeah, but you don't want to have a captain for a year. Like Gagai, next year is probably going to be his last year. Frizzell, same thing. I can't see him playing much longer. It's
Saifidi. I'm sure there's people in that club that would be better suited to leadership roles.
We don't know them. Like behind the scenes, they must not be good leaders. Those guys.
Well, obviously, I mean they've got probably one of the best forward packs in the league on paper. They've got Kalen Ponga. They've got...
Well, he's not a forward, but yeah.
I know, but I'm talking about in terms of their backs. Maybe they don't have the best 6 and 7, but they still got great outside backs, and they've got...
Well, Bradman Best has fallen off a cliff.
Well, yeah, he was the most talented centre in the league.
I don't think he's done... Has he even made a line break this entire season? I can't remember it.
Yeah, he was like an 18... When he burst onto the scene as an 18-year-old, he was seen as an Origin player that year. Never mind in the future. Yeah. So... Yeah, it's disappointing if you're a Knights fan. Apparently, they got according to Buzzy Boy, my favourite journo out there, they've apparently got a good under-21s team. But then Kenzie was like, mate, if they're not playing State Cup at 21, they're garbage. So, yeah, apparently they got some decent youngsters coming through. But obviously, multiple networks have touched on it, the fact that they let Karaz go, they let Meany go. So they've let a couple of good, talented young players go from that system. But then again, do you think they would have succeeded in that system? If you've got a guy as talented as Bradman Best that can't succeed, it's like Man United. If you've got so much talented players,
the club is ruined. Yeah, I don't know, and it's because last 2 years they played finals the last 2 years after they won 3 wooden spoons in a row.
Yeah, and then
Mitchell Pearce signed, and they played finals for 2 years, and then for some reason this year they let Mitchell Pearce go. He was still contracted this year.
Why would you do that?
That's turned out to be one of the worst decisions.
Well, it's not like you've got like a world class Sam Walker coming through the ranks.
Well, everyone was saying, "Oh, Jake Clifford, the savior." Oh my god! I'm like, I've watched this guy play at the Cowboys for 3 years, and he is horrendous.
I mean, the Cowboys finished second last every year. Jake Clifford would play,
and they're like, "Oh, we've got Adam Clune to pair him with."
Wow, he was like the worst half in the league when he played for the Dragons.
Yeah, so I don't know what they were thinking there. And, well, apparently they thought they had Luke Brooks coming.
But again, not like an outstanding player.
Yeah, also, and then there's a lesson in don't let someone go until you've signed his replacement.
Well, he's told us that he's coming, so let's just let the best player of the club go. It's fine.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous that they let Mitch Pearce go, and I think they're definitely paying for it now.
And also underrated, they let Connor Watson go.
Well, I don't think it was more let go. They offered him to stay, but he took less money at the Roosters.
Well, yeah, they didn't offer him enough to entice him, obviously. But I think Connor was probably the main locker room guy in that team.
Well, he
seems like a guy that just...
Well, he had a great, obviously, friendship with Kalen because they have a podcast together.
I think that's why he left, because he realised this team does not care about footy enough.
I don't know. I just think that...
Well, I think something's gone on.
Well, I don't know. He's obviously a fantastic player. I think it's more the player in the middle of the field that they miss. That guy that could connect the back, the front forwards and the forwards and the backs. I think he was great at sort of a lock position for them last year, and sort of that sort.
Yeah, I think they definitely miss him on the field, but clearly off the field is where the issues are for that team. And I think he's gone. Am I going to waste my career here with these guys that don't? Winning a premiership is not their highest priority. Making $1 million is. So he's done the good thing. Well, I guess the right thing. Gone back to the Roosters,
and they're on hot streak right now, baby.
Yep, very hot, very hot.
So moving on.
Moving on. What was the second? Oh yeah, Manly. I'm not on the streets, as you would say. I wouldn't call myself a member of a gang.
Oh, I thought you meant you were for the streets. And never mind. I was thinking something completely different. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I'm not one to sort of speak on from experience in these situations, but obviously,
what are you talking about? You're the most gangster guy I know. What are you talking? Look at you. Your glasses, Jewish, curly hair. You've got a.
I'm West Side.
That's American.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. That's the only one I know.
Okay.
But
clearly very gangster.
Yeah. So obviously, if you didn't know, Manasseh Fainu, former Manly Sea Eagles player,
stabbed a guy.
he's now been convicted guilty of stabbing. Again, another terrible decision for Manly. They let Api Coruscant go for this guy, and now he is in jail. So,
well, apparently he was very talented. I don't think.
Well, yes, he was talented, but he's also a
stabber,
criminal. So.
Yeah, well, it was talked about on 360, obviously, but they were who were the players that did the?
So it was Olakwatu.
Yeah.
When he scored a try, he did a 6-1, I think, which is something to do with where they're from.
But didn't he sit out because of the LGBTQ?
Yeah, he was. So yeah, he was one of the 7 that sat out.
That makes sense. So God doesn't like
God
gay
does
people.
not like gays, but he loves stabbers.
He loves murderers, but he hates gay people.
Well, yeah. Obviously, these guys think that he's innocent.
Did the guy not have stab wounds, he just made it up?
He has been sentenced to a prison sentence, so it's
found guilty.
Slightly difficult to believe that now at this point, but yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of weird, and it's I don't know. They definitely shouldn't be doing it on TV. Yeah, I don't know. I just it's a weird look to support someone that's. Just
it's a very American thing. You see it in.
But even still, say if Anthony Davis stabbed someone, and he's gone to jail, do you think LeBron would be showing his support to Anthony Davis?
No,
publicly?
because he'd be overjoyed that he left the team. He'd be like, "Thank God."
I think he would be like, "I'm done with this guy."
Yeah. Well, I think it's different. Also, those guys are like the faces of the sport. I think if Tedesco had done it in support of him, it'd be a massive story. But I think because those guys aren't really major guys, and they were obviously probably really close mates with them, it's a bit more underground. But yeah, I don't like it. I think I don't really hate the gang sign part of it. You know, the throwing up whatever the area.
Yeah,
code is.
But it's like it's contributing to gang violence and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, in the West, there's massive issues.
Well, yeah, obviously there's massive issues going on right now, but it is throwing up hands in front of a camera on the NRL.
Yeah, because it puts it on TV, and it's like I love this area. This is where I'm from. If you come,
creating that gang sort of turf war.
It's us against you. It's us against the world.
Well, I understand that sentiment. I don't think they had the feeling of gang. I think they were just more trying to. It was like a simple way of representing him clearly, because they can't say his name into the camera because they don't pick up the name. But I think that
they could have just written his name on the wrist and done the.
Yeah, I think that's obviously viable, but it's a bit interesting. I obviously don't. I don't think anyone should like it, but I don't think it's that terrible. I don't think they should be fined or suspended or anything like that. What do you have
I'd be happy if he gets suspended.
Really?
He's supported someone who's a convicted criminal.
That's the weird thing. That's probably the more I'm sort of taking it from the viewpoint that it contributes to gang violence. I don't think it does that much, but I think it's kind of weird how the guy's been literally convicted of of stabbing someone, and it's not like stabbing is kind of easy to prove as well. Like clearly, the guy has a stab wound in him.
Yeah, but you don't know who stabbed him. It was
in the dark of night. You couldn't see him.
Well, no, but it was a big gang fight. There was a lot of people there.
Oh, okay. Well, if he's innocent, then that's...
Well, he's clearly not innocent.
Well, according to the law, he's not innocent. But yeah, I think it's a difficult situation. You don't really want to be supporting that publicly. And if you do, you maybe want to put out sort of message on Instagram to say, look, I'm in full support of him. I believe he's innocent. That kind of thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But putting up gang signs in a game can be seen as controversial. I can definitely see that.
Well, that's very insightful of you.
Well, it's not my expertise. I don't know if that would contribute to gang violence or that contributes to the acceptance of it or the acceptance of turf wars. I'm not knowledgeable enough. I don't know enough about that.
I think we should go and experience it.
Go and experience it. Where do you want to go?
Well, I don't
just
know.
Go out west and just.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it works. I think.
Well, we just conduct interviews on the streets.
Conduct interviews on the street.
We say, hello, mister.
That is the biggest cultural appropriation.
Are you
I've ever
a member of a gang?
Just go to the poorest areas in Sydney.
And are you more likely to stab someone following Mr. Hamoli's actions on screen?
Yeah, I think if we're ever going to get cancelled, it would be that video. I'm not going to lie.
It's not cancelable. That
yeah, but it's like you're going up
we're
to like
asking
the
them
poorest
whether
areas in Sydney and saying,
no, but that's
are
where
you a part of a gang?
But it's a fact that that's
it's such a privileged thing.
But that's where they are. It's just a fact that that's where they are.
Yeah, I mean,
and we're asking them if they are members or not.
Look,
we're not assuming
it's not my first choice. It's a video content.
Okay, yeah, probably we would die doing it, but
it's for the content, bro. It's for the content.
Yeah, who's gonna kill you when you got a camera on? No one.
I think they'd sort of turn the camera off. I don't think.
No, we got to film with someone who's fast as fuck.
You'd have to live stream it. You'd have to.
Yeah, that's way smarter. We'll be safe that way. Before we start,
someone gets a knife out and they're like, "No, bro, it's a live stream. It's a live stream."
Before we start the interview, we go. Before we start, we are live, so anything you say will be filmed and the world will see it. Now, are you a gang member?
But the funny thing is there's 0 viewers, so nobody finds out.
Yeah, but we say we have 1 million viewers.
I don't think they'd believe us, but...
Well,
they just say, well, can we see?
It's their risk.
Anyway, so moving on.
Moving on. Finished NRL chat. Great game last night. And we'll just touch on the minor premiership being collected for the second time in the last 3 years by the greatest team of all time.
I'm not having this conversation.
The Penrith Panthers.
It's just not true, is it?
Down on troops.
Down on 3
Down
players.
on luck.
You've never been down on luck. The refs are always
first
sucking
time
you
as
off.
an underdog all year. Joey Johns comes on 9 News and says, I think Rabbitohs are going to win big. I think they're going to roll them. And I'm thinking, you idiot.
Yeah, I don't think that's
we come out and just absolutely pummel them into the face of the earth. Your boys $100
They
riches.
won in like the last. You won in like the last minute. It wasn't really a
Yeah, we
pummeling.
did, but we should have won by more. Liam Martin dropped the ball over the line twice.
But also, Paulo, the winger, was absolutely atrocious and dropped 3 clear.
That's his fault.
He dropped like 2 try-scoring opportunities right over the line.
Well, that's his fault.
So it could have been the other way as well. So I don't think it should be a one-sided thing. But yeah, it was impressive. I think it to show that kind of firepower as well. Even though Liam Martin was poor in terms of putting the ball down, he was very good in the game, I thought. And I think the other guys stepped up. I don't think your halves. I actually think O'Sullivan played well.
O'Sullivan was good. Salmon is terrible.
Yeah, I don't think Salmon's that good.
We are playing not even just without.
But he's a weak got a dog.
We're playing with handicaps. Like, if you want to see what a fringe first grader looks like, Jamin Salmon is your guy.
Well, Ricky said it best, though.
He is just so below average. It's ridiculous.
So I don't think... I mean, I know O'Sullivan got a 40-20. Again, I don't think his kicking game is that good. But he skewed a couple. But it's
pretty good.
I don't think his long range is that bad. I think his short game is a bit up and down. But that's not the point. I think the fact that you were able to create points against a championship contender without your 2 main playmakers and your best front rower, I think that's a good showing. And yeah, they're looking pretty formidable at the moment. And the only team that can knock them off is the Mighty Chookies.
The Mighty Chookies.
The Mighty Chooks. But yeah, it was a good game. Obviously, what game is it? What games are tonight?
Tonight, or right now, it's Warriors, Cowboys, and then it's Melbourne, Brisbane.
Well, I'm hoping Melbourne can win. The thing is, I'm obviously the Chooks fan. I don't want Rabbitohs at all. Every time we play them, they smash us. And I think out of those bottom 4 teams...
I want Rabbitohs Roosters week 1. And I want to go to that game.
Yeah, because you want the good 2 of the good teams to knock each other out.
No, because I just want to see them play each other because it'll be a good game.
Well, it'll be a good game, yeah, but I'd rather play Brisbane or... what's the other team?
Para.
Yeah, I'd rather play Brisbane or Para, to be honest, than Rabbitohs. I think Rabbitohs... always spank us, and I think they're a really solid team right now. Even though they played, I don't think that well. They made a lot of mistakes in that game. I just think Latrell and Cody and that left side when it's on song, you couldn't even stop it. They had like two possessions.
Dude, Alex Johnson is a cheat code.
He's like, he scored that try,
like 20 tries in 10 games or something.
Yeah, the try, I think it was in the first half where Brian Toto looked like he was right there, but Alex Johnson just sprinted around him, and Toto looked like he was running through mud. Yeah, it was ridiculous how fast this guy is, and I didn't rate him a couple of years ago.
He's going to be the all-time leading try scorer.
How old is he?
He's like 27.
Oh, yeah, yes. But he does use a lot of speed to get his opportunities, so he could be done.
He's already got 160-something tries.
Yeah, well, it's ridiculous how good he is, but yeah, like I was saying, the left-sided attack, when you got Cody Walker, Latrell, and him on song, it's pretty dangerous. So, and we've got Momorowski on that side. So
Momorowski has been good.
Yeah, he's been good recently.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that slander no more.
I'm not slandering anymore. I love him, Momorowski. He's a great person.
Yeah, now you see him on a daily basis. I'm going to tell him, hey Paul,
I love him. He's actually no. To be fair, he's picked up his form a lot recently, and I think the team has as well. Moving on, shifting avenues, shifting countries to America, Utah specifically for this weekend. Big card in the UFC.
It's in Utah.
Yeah. What idiot came up with that bright idea?
I don't know.
Let's throw a UFC card in Utah.
Obviously, they gave him a lot of money.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, well, they should maybe give their fighters that money, according to Luke Rockhold. But
yeah,
that was probably the biggest thing coming out of the media press conference. How he roasted a Full Send reporter. I don't know why Full Send have access.
I hate that guy because you see, like Nate Diaz slapped that guy as well.
Did Nate Diaz slap him? Yeah, I don't think. I don't mind Full Send in terms of their podcast content and stuff. I don't hate it. I don't really watch it, but I don't think it's that bad. But the fact that I know they're mates with Dana, but they shouldn't get.
Well, they've completely just gotten privilege because of Dana. But yeah, I don't like it. I think that it's just weird.
Yeah,
it's just. Not
I don't hate it. Like there's these golf TikTokers. I forgot what they're called, but they make like fun sort of jokey questions in a golf tournament. And I don't mind that because it's golf.
Yeah.
And it's not contact. When UFC is literally people trying to kill each other in an octagon. And if you're asking, like, taking the piss out of the fighters, I mean, these aren't fucking golfers, mate. These are guys that fight for a living.
Do you know why Rocco got mad at him?
Well, yeah, because he called one of the fighters. He did like a Mexican thing.
Yeah, he gave Cheeto Vera a Rey Mysterio mask, like a
Mexican
mask.
Yeah.
And he's not Mexican.
Yeah, it was a bit.
And he made him put it on in the interview. It was really awkward, but and Luke just roasted him for it.
Yeah, I mean, he called out Barstool as well. I don't know what Barstool had to do with it. That was a bit left field, but yeah, it was a really.
He probably just wants a sponsorship.
But I think. Yeah, but the main thing Luke Rockhold said was he doesn't care about the UFC. He's just here because he loves it, and he thinks that. Because I think he was mainly harping on about the bonuses, how the 50K bonus has been the same for 20 years, and they haven't.
Well, no, it hasn't. It has increased.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it used to be 30, I think.
Well, yeah, he's talking about how I think it was a Chuck Liddell fight where the bonuses were 100K or something like that, and
they've been 60 a few times.
Yeah. Look, I understand.
But, mate, Luke, you're not going to win one anyway, so pipe down.
They're in a monopoly. There's no way that any UFC company comes close to the UFC. And they've got all the power, so...
Yeah, well, and it's, everyone just is quick to go, oh, look at Tyson Fury. He makes 10, 15, 20 mil a fight.
He fights once a year, if that.
All these guys in boxing make so much money, and it's like, when you look at the people on the prelim, they make about $8 each.
Yeah.
The main event makes all the money and no one else makes anything. So in the UFC, it's more of an even spread. Yes, the people on the bottom only make like 30K, which isn't great. But the people up the top, they're making millions. But it's more even spread. Yeah. Could they be getting paid more money? Yeah, they could.
Well, I think everyone can agree that. But I don't think it's as egregious as the UFC.
But it's
fighters.
not like boxing a fucking saint, giving the fighters all the money they deserve, and then UFC is just doing nothing.
Yeah, like Jake Paul's like giving his prelims like
Jake
millions.
Paul is chatting shit.
Yeah.
No one buys his pay-per-views. He's talking like he sells.
They
like
cancelled.
Mayweather.
They cancelled his card because they didn't sell enough.
Yeah, fucking. What is he doing going to Madison Square Garden? You're not that guy, dude.
Unless you're fighting. So yeah, he's bumping the camera. So yeah. Unless you're fighting KSI, you're not going to fill out a major arena, or a top professional or a top celebrity. So, look, I don't absolutely disagree with the fact that the UFC fighters should get paid more. I think everyone with a brain can understand that the UFC makes a shit ton of money and they could afford to pay their fighters a little bit more. However, they're getting paid a lot more than the competition. And there is a pathway in which if you succeed in the UFC, you do get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
if you're a ranked fighter and you fight 3 times a year, you make a great living.
Yeah, so it's and I think they compare themselves to other professional athletes.
Obviously that isn't a lot of people, but
yeah, but they get it's like 15 people per division. Yeah, it's but yeah, I think they're comparing themselves to other professional athletes in sports around them, like basketball, like NFL, how they make tens of millions of dollars. But it's structured so much more different, and the fact that the UFC is able to pull in weekly pay-per-view buys by consumers is pretty extraordinary.
You know, basketball player, you're playing 82 games a year plus playoffs.
Yeah, you're fighting 3 times a year at most. So yeah, it's a tough one, and I think the fighters do deserve a bit more, but I can understand Luke Rockhold's sentiment.
Yeah. But we'll quickly break down the card as well. Obviously the main event, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. Rematch. This was the last fight Leon lost, was the first fight against Usman. That was 7 years ago now.
He's washed.
Who?
Leon.
He's washed?
Yeah, he's washed.
Well, he's on a 9-fight win streak now, so that's pretty good for a washed guy.
That's not bad.
But yeah, I think Usman's due for a loss, to be honest. Just kind of controversial. He's number 1 pound for pound. He's obviously beaten Leon before.
I don't know. I can't imagine him losing. I've never seen him lose.
Yeah, but he's 37. He's going to lose soon. He is. He just, Father Time is undefeated.
And you think Leon, how old is Leon?
He's like 30.
Okay.
And Leon's striking is very good, probably the best in the division. Usman is hittable. We've seen that. He's been rocked against Burns, rocked by Colby. If they can rock him, Leon can definitely hurt him. And I think Leon's takedown defense has improved a lot more since the first fight, because that's how Usman won the first fight, basically. Just took him down and held him there, and then won a decision. But
lovely.
Yeah, I just think it's his time, to be honest. So
yeah, I think only Conor can dismantle Kamaru. Yeah, I think that's what the UFC want. They want Kamaru just get declined so much that he gets to a point where Conor can defeat him.
No, well, there's no point declining. Well, if he's declining, he's going to be losing.
Well, but he's still a big name, so they probably want.
But he's not really that big of a name.
Yeah. Well, talking about Conor, is there any potential? I mean, I thought he broke his leg like a year ago. What's going on?
Well, I don't know if he's coming back, to be honest. He's doing an acting thing now with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Why?
I don't know. He's being in a remake of a boxing movie. He's starring in that, so I don't know how long it'll take to film that. But yeah, there's no real news on when he's going to be coming back or if he is. I think he's waiting to see what happens in the title fight between Oliveira and Islam.
Is he going to get that fight?
Who knows?
I mean, I know money is power, but like, if Dana really gives him a title shot after floundering,
if Islam beats Charles, because Islam is Khabib's like right-hand man, like his protege or whatever.
That would be
and then Conor comes back and beats Islam. That would be
wow. Yeah, that's what Dana's dreaming of. Has wet dreams right
Dana
now about
honestly does just ejaculate to the thought of that. And then Khabib comes out of retirement for the rematch.
Oh god,
that would be like 5 million.
Have we just entered Dana White's head right now? We just entered the metaverse and we've just transferred into.
I think Dana White might just retire if that happens. After that,
he hasn't made enough money already.
That fight could make $1 billion. I don't know.
Oh, the rematch if he beats is right. Yeah, I could see it.
Khabib Conor rematch. Well, it's already.
God.
It's already the most pay-per-view. It's like 600,000 buys ahead of second place.
In any combat sports or just
in UFC?
In UFC.
So the rematch I think, will be bigger.
Well, yeah, I rewatched that press conference for that fight. Oh my, Conor was on fire in the press conference. I'll tell you
It was a bit dark though. It was very personal.
That's why I liked it. It was dark. It was like, you're a scum. You're a rat.
His best press conference is where he's happy, but he's roasting people off the cuff.
I know, but it was different though. It was dark. It was nasty. He had researched everything. He was calling his manager a terrorist rat. I mean, it was...
Yeah, because Ali is he's a sketchy bloke.
Yeah, I think he wasn't wrong, I don't think. So, but yeah, that animosity, that hatred for each other, it's so believable. And you want to watch because of that. I mean, you don't miss that fight if that happens. So I think Conor still wants to be... I think Conor probably does miss that feeling of being the top of the world and being Mr. Untouchable. Yeah, well, I mean, surely when Machine Gun Kelly is arcing up to you, you're saying to yourself, mate, I need to get back in that ring to prove to people that I'm the man. But yeah, I that maybe does maybe want... maybe I do want Oliveira to lose now, just so I can get that possibility.
Yeah,
it'd be ridiculous if Dana gave Conor the title shot, but still, I'd want that fight.
Because Chandler's fighting Poirier, in MSG, so you'd think that would probably be a number one contender fight, but who knows?
Poirier Conor 4.
Poirier Conor 4, number one contender fight. Let's go.
But yeah, so more on the card.
More on the card. Co-main event is Luke Rockhold making his return. Hasn't fought in 3 years.
He looks a bit old, doesn't he?
He's 37.
He was a strapping fella back in the day.
He still looks sexy.
I don't know. He looks a bit dodge.
Really?
He looks a bit old.
He looks good for
a bit worse for wear.
But yeah, so he's taking on Paulo Costa, which is basically just the younger version of Luke Rockhold.
No defense, but just great kicks and
just extremely jacked beyond belief.
On roids, probably.
Probably. It's he carries around this big jug and he's just labeled it secret juice because everyone's just like, bro, you're on steroids. So he just jokes about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Costa is coming off 2 losses in a row. Obviously, title fight against Izzy, and then he lost to Vettori after that. But Costa should win this fight realistically. I mean, Luke Rockhold has been knocked out cold in 3 of his last 4 fights. And he is 37, so that chin isn't going to improve. So if Costa can find it, he'll probably knock him out. But Luke Rockhold is the more skilled fighter. I think that's pretty obvious. If it gets to the ground, I think Rockhold could win.
Well, Luke Rockhold probably was... I mean, on paper, when he was at the top, I mean, he was unbelievable. He beat Weidman.
And he destroyed Weidman.
Yeah, I mean, his kicks were unreal. And he had great ground game. He had great grappling. He seemed like a complete fighter until we found out that he had 0 chin and he got knocked spark out by everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, not everybody. I mean, Bisping.
That
punch was straight from God. That was like
story. Obviously you wanted Bisping to win because he's a mank, but he was Luke Rockhold was dominating that fight. I mean, Jesus, Bisping looked outclassed in that fight, and then he just landed one, and Rockhold got absolutely sparked out.
And then he obviously Romero finished him.
Yeah.
But, Romero is pretty beasty. And then Jan Blachowicz knocked him out cold as well. But that was at light heavyweight, so kind of different, but not really.
He just doesn't have a chin. But if he can avoid getting hit, he can win.
He can. So, and apparently he's been training a lot.
Well, why has he been out for 3 years? Just because of the head knock?
I think he was contemplating retiring. And then
he didn't have any money.
He was just he's like a model and stuff. I think he makes money, but I don't know. I guess he's just wanted to come back.
Yeah. Well, moving on. Is there any other sort of exciting cards?
Yeah, or Aldo's on this
Exciting
card
fights.
as well. The King of Rio, he's back fighting Merab Dvalishvili.
Never been the same since Connor,
Dvalishvili.
but he's
He's still pretty good.
still pretty good. But he was again like
He's-
Luke Rockhold on another level before he got knocked spark out. He was untouchable.
Yeah, well, I mean, he became champ again after that.
Yeah, but still, he was still losing. He was a bit inconsistent, I think, in his fights. He looked better at bantamweight, I thought.
Yeah, he's a bantamweight.
So-
He's currently number 3 ranked bantamweight, so he's still right up there. And he's fighting Merab, who's number 6.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say. Bantamweight is on fire right now. It's probably the best division in the UFC at the moment because...
Well, yeah, you can't speak out. Like, as much as I don't enjoy it, if I speak out against bantamweight, I'll get absolutely flamed by every UFC fan known to man because they will hate you until the dying days if you hate on bantamweight.
How can you hate on it? It's incredible right now.
Well, it's obviously it's a lot of great fights at the moment. I just want the biggest guys to fight. I don't know. It's a bit weird.
Well, because Dominic Cruz just fought Cheeto. Cheeto was the guy that wore the Mexican mask.
Yeah.
So he just win, and there's an argument that Cheeto could get a title shot now from that fight.
Well, Dominic looked better in that fight, I felt.
Yeah, but he lost.
I know, but Dominic does tend to get knocked out as well. He's got a bit of a weaker chin.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So
What I'm saying is, I think Dominic was the better fighter on the night. So I don't know if the other guy fought that well, but
okay. Well, and Aldo also has beaten Cheeto, so you'd think Aldo would be ahead of him.
he's a champion right now.
Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah.
So
The guy that flopped.
yeah. So the title fight coming up on the next pay per view is Aljamain versus TJ Dillashaw.
Okay.
And then also on that card is Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley. So
Sean O'Malley's Sean O'Malley's going to get beat, I think.
yeah. So you
I think that's a bit too soon.
depending on that, if Sean O'Malley wins, they're going to give him a title.
Oh
shot.
yeah, obviously.
Obviously that's unlikely, but if Peter Yan wins and Aldo wins this week, I think Aldo could get the shot.
I don't see Sean O'Malley winning that at all.
Yeah.
He's going to get. I mean,
Well, I want to see Aldo become champ again. So
I don't.
what? You don't like Aldo? He's a legend.
Well, I'm a Conor fan. Of course, I don't like Aldo.
Being a Conor fan, Conor is my favorite fighter.
Yeah.
Aldo has nothing to do with Conor anymore.
Well, it's more sad to be honest, but I like Sean O'Malley. But if I was to choose a bantamweight champion, I'm not a fan of the division. But if I was to choose one, it'd be Sean O'Malley. But I just don't see him beating Peter Yan at all. There's just I see no way.
Well, yeah.
Didn't Peter Yan beat Jose Aldo?
Yeah, he did.
So yeah, he looks a bit scary, Peter Yan. I can't lie, even though he's small. But yeah, moving on.
What was after that? Oh, yeah. Well, that was basically it for the sports for this week.
Was that it?
Yeah. For the card. That's it.
Okay.
There's no one else of relevance.
Okay. Fair play. No one else matters on that card?
Nope.
Not even that you don't want to give any attention to a little fighter, a little
fighter.
that you like, or no?
No. Well, I'll give my prediction. I think Aldo wins because he's got gun takedown defense. Merab is like a wrestler. And I think he's got better striking, so I think Aldo wins.
Put your money on it, folks.
So, yeah, if you want to win a lot of money, go Aldo into Costa into Edwards. That will honestly bag you a lot of money. Kind of sketchy.
Or bet the opposite and you'll make a lot of money.
Nah, kind of sketchy on the co-main, though. I probably would leave that alone because, I don't know, Costa's a massive favourite and he could lose, so not really worth.
Oscar here was telling me prior to the podcast that he had his biggest win ever of gambling.
Yep.
Now, he's a degenerate gambler. We've
No,
said it
I'm
on the podcast. You've said it on the podcast multiple times.
He's
a degenerate gambler.
Budget degenerate.
No,
gambler.
hang on. He's a degenerate gambler, right? He gambles every week, no matter what, right? He just said his biggest win ever was $100.
$115 and 50 cents.
$115 is his best ever return.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. But if you're a degenerate gambler and that's your top, you're not a very good gambler, are you?
No, yeah, you are. Because
No,
I'm not
'cause you
putting.
don't
I
win a
don't
lot.
put on a lot of money to make that much money. You have to put on a good amount of money.
Not really.
Yeah, really.
Especially with your type of bets. You put on like 30 different multis.
Exactly. So they're never going to win. There's a reason the odds are so high on that.
Yeah, well, you should have won it once at least.
You don't.
Then what's the point in betting it then? You're just losing money.
For the chance.
But apparently there's zero chance because you've won.
Well, there is a chance, but it's completely luck based.
But yeah, anyway, more on Oscar's gambling habit a bit later. He's not bad when it comes to rugby league, I don't think. When it comes to UFC, he's not had the best of luck. It's just my experience knowing him. UFC, usually when he bets, we go out, watch a UFC fight at the pub, usually doesn't go as planned for him. And saying that in State of Origin didn't go that your way either. Otherwise, you're not
going to win every time. But right now I am. I'm going to reinvest that 100 and make it into 1,000.
Lovely, lovely. Moving on.
That's it. Unless we want to do a debate on the PEDs.
So there's this. I'm not a baseball fan. I've actually quite staunchly hated the
baseball
sport.
Sucks. If you like it, you're a weirdo.
Well, no. I think it's one of those sports like cricket. If you played it, I think you enjoy watching. I think the only people that like watching baseball played it.
But I don't play cricket, and I can watch it.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but I think that's sort of similar. A lot of people don't like cricket, but they've never played it. So,
but baseball, it's like the ball is in play for 2 seconds every minute.
Yeah, it's really annoying. But to play, it'd be fucking fun. You just sit down, you have a chat with your mates, and then you just rock up and hit balls. So it sounds fun to play, but it's just boring as hell to watch. Anyway, my team, I guess, I go for San Diego team. So the San Diego Padres, they're superstar player. This guy is technically he's like the Kalen Ponga. He's very flashy, very young, very good player called Fernando Tatis, who's been suspended for taking PEDs for 80 games. Now, there's been a problem within baseball mainly for a long time, but he's suspended for 80 games, which...
How many is a season?
It's like 160 games.
Oh, what the hell?
But I don't know. It should be out for the rest of the season. I'm not too sure. But my point is, it sort of brought me to this discussion. I've heard it sort of talked about a couple of times. Should PEDs be somewhat allowed in a controlled manner in the sport, sport in general?
Well, if you went to school, well, at our school at least, there was a lot of debates and lectures, and you talked about this in PE or whatever.
Physical education.
Yep, if you couldn't work that out. Yeah, my opinion is I don't think it should be allowed. I don't mind it if you say, away from traditional sport, we're going to just have this league where you can just go for your life, roid yourself up and do what you want. You sign a waiver. If you die, it's not our fault. And just go for it. But I like seeing sport in a pure form, what hard work can do for you, just the average person, dedicate your life to it and just...
Well, it's not the average person. You've got to be unbelievably gifted with athletic gifts.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. I just don't like the idea of performance-enhancing drugs being used. Yeah.
I'm kind of like you, but I believe it more if it's in a controlled manner. If there are certain, obviously, strong... I'm not obviously well-versed in it, but if there's strong amount of steroids where you have to take a needle in the fucking arse, I think that sort of steroids shouldn't be allowed in professional sports. However, if there's supplements that this guy, I think it was a tablet or something, that like a steroid supplement. I'm not too sure. But if it's a supplement, like a tablet, I don't think it should be disallowed. And I think it depends on the sport as well. If it's in a contact sport, I don't think it should be allowed. Like in the UFC, I don't think steroids should be allowed. However,
if you give someone extra strength or whatever, you could kill them.
However, in a sport like baseball, I could argue that it makes it much better viewing for the viewer if the batter's on steroids and he can yonk it 500 meters,
Yeah, I mean, better viewing, but I guess you can make that argument with every sport.
Well, not for like combat sports because it's dangerous to the.
But it's still dangerous in baseball.
Is it?
Well, if you can throw it faster, you can injure players.
But they have a strike zone though.
What do you mean a strike zone?
So if you hit the player, then there's a deterrent in not hitting a player. You've got to hit the pitchers have got to hit a specific area outside the body.
Yeah, well, there's still human error.
It's very unlikely, but yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's weird. And also, it's some players may not want to do it, and then it gets to the stage where if you're not taking steroids, which is bad for you, not healthy, you can't be a professional athlete anymore.
Yeah.
which I think is wrong.
Well, what about recreational drug use? Often it's banned in sport. See, I think it should be allowed.
Nah.
Especially if it's legal. It's
if you're a professional athlete, you're a role model for kids.
Who cares?
Doing recreational drugs.
Maradona's a role model.
Whatever,
you know how much cocaine
whatever
that guy did?
yeah, but that doesn't mean it's good.
Whatever,
doing recreational drugs or whatever, that's your choice as an adult.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. But I don't think advertising that to the youth is good because,
it's not
in my
advertising.
opinion, well, it basically is advertising. Because in my opinion, like, I don't know, doing weed's fine. I don't really care about that. But anything else, I would be like, it's probably bad.
Well, say if you're in California, right? If you play for the Lakers or something, and you decide to smoke marijuana, it's legal.
But they do. All the NBA players do smoke.
But that's the thing. But in the off season, but during the season they can't. So my point is, how is it it's saying like a place where it's obviously when it's legalized, you don't want to be doing something illegal. But in a place where it's legalized, and I don't see it any different to alcohol.
Yeah, but I just said weed I can live with.
Okay, so if it's weed, but if it's something...
But like cocaine, I don't think that should be allowed.
Yeah. Well, technically it kind of is allowed.
Why?
Because in the NRL, if Kalen and...
you're allowed to do it once. So...
It's very lenient.
Pick your time. You got one opportunity.
Yeah. You got to pick your spur of the moment just to give you that extra energy boost. Like just in half time, just like, I got to get ready for the second half of the grand final.
Yeah.
This is my time to take it.
And if they outlaw drug tests, you might be able to do it more often. So...
Well, yeah. In that sort of discussion, I don't think it's absolutely terrible if you do recreational. The thing is, you shouldn't be able to. I don't think it should be supported, but I don't think it should be persecuted as heavily as it is. Maybe fined, but I don't think it should be. And counselling. Maybe you get counselling and fined. I don't think it should be a.
But then you're just going to do it again.
Not if you don't think counselling would work, or
counselling would work,
or therapy. I don't know to get you over the drug problem.
It's not like it's not a drug problem. They're doing it for fun.
Okay. Well, you get my point. I just think that I don't think it's as serious as, or it should be taken as seriously by these independent sort of NRL commissions or whatever they call them. And it's persecuted extremely heavily, in my opinion.
I think it's fair. Because if you're a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, and you see Kalen Ponga's done cocaine,
he's already
does cocaine, and then you think, okay, well, that's what you do when you're an adult. You do cocaine.
Well, you've seen it. Does that mean do you watch Kalen Ponga? You're inclined to do it.
Well, I'm an adult,
but I think that's overblown.
I already have a functioning.
I know,
brain.
but I think that's overblown. I don't think kids look at.
I don't think most kids would do that, but I think there's some that would.
Kalen Ponga did it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Really?
That's what you do. When you're a kid, you do what your role models do.
Well, I mean, should Kalen Ponga
if it's your parents, that's why I see a lot of kids whose parents smoke, they start smoking.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, but I don't know. Just the purity of sport back in the day when you had Diego Maradona, George Best got on the piss every night.
Yeah, we weren't alive then.
Yeah, I know,
but we don't know what it was like.
Yeah, but it was very pure. You got paid shit, but you were supported by thousands of fans daily. It was just... You went out on the town, nobody cared. Like nowadays, I mean, I know...
Yeah, I don't mind if you go out.
But, you're ostracized if you go out. I mean...
Not really.
Well, Kalen Ponga
in certain situations.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's more the trajectory of sport in general. I think we take it a bit too seriously when you get all these sports scientists involved, and I know you're doing it to get a competitive edge, but everything I feel like is to get a competitive edge, and it loses the spirit of sport. When you're constantly testing for something, like in basket or in football, when you do an unbelievable goal or you do something miraculous on a pitch, you're automatically drug tested. Like I think that's out of hand.
You should be drug tested.
I don't know.
Otherwise, you could just be cheating.
Well, but it's always an assumption. Like, if you did this, you must be cheating. If you score this unbelievable
goal,
assumption.
It's like we're just going to check if you are or not.
I don't know.
Just fair. Because if you don't check, people are going to cheat.
I don't know. It just seems a bit harsh to me. I don't know. It's just
harsh.
Like just how constant the sort of emphasis on not taking drugs. Now, obviously, if you're taking steroids, it's bad, but yeah, look, I don't think it's the end of the world if you take recreational drugs in the sports world. Because
it is against the law as one thing.
A lot of adults do it though, and they don't get anything. But
that's just
it's just the way of the world.
Just the way it is.
Technically, what they do is
I think those adults would trade a night of cocaine to be a professional athlete.
Yeah, well, you could also flip the coin and say, well, it's the same job profession as anything else, but we're judged on a different level. We're judged. You
are judged on a different level because you make more money.
Well, not necessarily. If you're a Wall Street banker, you probably make more money.
Yeah.
So look, at the end of the day, it's a debate topic in terms of should steroids be allowed. I'm probably closer to you on it. However, I think there is a world in which a controlled way could succeed. But and you suggested a separate league for people that take steroids. I don't know. I think that would sort of starve the other league. To be honest with you, it wouldn't be as good. It's like the content. It wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, but I don't think many people would go to it. I think it would more just be a meme thing where you just see like elephants just charging each other. Because you see, like in the bodybuilding contest, there's some contests where they allow steroids
and some that don't.
Yeah.
Well, which ones do you remember? The ones that allow steroids,
mate. That's where my knowledge starts and ends.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know it, but like, I mean, the famous bodybuilders, Arnie was on steroids, Ronnie Coleman was on steroids, Jay Cutler was on steroids. So you don't know any of those guys, but yeah. I think separate leagues doesn't really work, and it showed in bodybuilding. But anyway, I think that's the end of the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait for this weekend of sport. Can't wait to watch Man United lose to Liverpool at home. But Casemiro's coming. Casemiro's coming. He's coming for the money solely, but we got him coming. So, and support the protest, all right? Go out there. What would your suggested action? Yeah, what would your suggested action be to protesters in Old Trafford? I'll frame it like this: you're at the front. There's a massive horde of Manchester United fans in front of you, right? You're outside Old Trafford. You're giving a speech. What do you say?
I say,
what's a button? All right. Okay. Ready? I want you to start your speech now. Come on. Start your speech. What's your speech to your Manchester United
ladies and gentlemen, men of Knox? Our club is run by fools. Okay, we need to take this time to stand up and show them that this is not good enough. For we are Man United, and we are built on success. Now, fuck these Glazers, all right? We haven't won in 10 years. Now, it's probably going to be at least another 10, how long this rebuild's going to take, but let's start it now. And maybe our kids will see some success. It's probably over for us, but maybe our kids could see some. So everybody, get your pitchforks, get some fire, and let's burn this place down.
Yeah! All right. Wow, that was inspirational.
That was it.
That is a TikTok clip right there. That is... that's a clip that's going everywhere. That's going viral. That is.
Wow. I would probably.
You're going to be the voice of Man United fans.
One of the more.
You don't even watch the games, and you're going to be the voice of all Man United fans. I'm going to sit there, most jealous guy ever, just watching you take all the credit.
One of the more embarrassing clips to go viral, but yeah.
No, that's what we go viral about. Just that sole clip. Well, thank you for listening. Yeah. Support the protest. Have a good.
Most
week.
importantly, support the channel.
Support the with
a fat subscribe.
A fat. What's the difference between a fat and skinny subscribe?
No difference.
No difference.
Just adjectives in that.
And that. You know what it is, bruv.
In it, fam.
Yeah. Done out.
What?
Done out.
All right.
She looking lang, bruv.
Okay, that's enough. Thanks to the
Not looking good, bruv.
Thanks to the man for watching. We'll see you next week. Peace.